day. Thank you so much for staying with us. This is Leadership Television. My name is Cynthia Omad, and of course, I have Mrs. Tolulope Aina Morion here with me. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. Of course, we've seen the involvement of relationships over time. And of course, the 21st century, relationships and marriages are changing different views. The rise and fall of feminism and women speaking up and their voices being heard in various quarters. So let's bring us to the question of, relationships and marriages and finances. Should relationships be 50-50 financially? Yes, that's what we're discussing today on the Spice. Yes, should relationships be 50-50 financially? We got to see some weeks ago on a podcast, Okay Moment, that's presented by, of course, Toke Makewa. And she had a guest Instagram influencer, Kiki, who voiced her own concerns about how she runs her household with her husband. And the fact that she actually split the bills 50-50 with her spouse. Yeah, she split the rent with her spouse. Let's get to see a clip of that video and what exactly she said.
That's why when you two are in a marriage, they cannot be bringing everything to you. Me, for one, I tell women this: how will you be living in the house and you're not paying rent? For me, it does not make sense. See, I'm living in this house. We are sharing the rent. On my birthday, fly me to Dubai, fly me to Barcelona for my birthday. That's beautiful. Buy me a Fendi bag. Buy me a Christian thing, whatever. Beautiful. But that I'll be living in that house and not pay rent, it is not possible. So that when one wants to fight, you carry chair, carry television, you carry the roof, I'll carry the floor. When we'll see everything equal. You can't tell me get out of my house.
No, that's. Oh yes, of course. I hope we're able to get to see that video and everything Kiki had to say about her home and the fact that she has no problem accepting gifts from her husband. But of course, when it comes to the finances, she actually splits the bills 50-50 to gain her respect. And of course, she said, when the marriage ends, I can live with whatever I want to live with because I also have an equal share in that. Well, this has generated a lot of arguments over places. People are on separate sides of the divide and wondering why a woman, would want to purposely share bills with her spouse. I mean, it's believed that men are the providers, protectors, and they're supposed to preside over, their helpmates, which is a woman. But as I said earlier, the 21st century has brought a great change in the way people view relationships. And that's what I brought Miss Sulupe here to discuss this with me this afternoon. What do you think about this? Did you get to see that video?
Yeah, I saw the video, and I noticed it's been generating a lot of comments here and there, and quite a lot of people have many things to say.
Definitely.
And I'm so excited that we are finally getting our power back. Like, we are beginning to voice out the things that we feel we can no longer deal with when it comes to marriage, because it's not a news that women has actually been very marginalized when it comes to how marriage is viewed or seen previously. But in the 21st century, like you said, a lot of things are changing, and this is one of such. For example, I feel that what she said, well, in as much as what she said is actually not, how do I put it now? I believe is a unique, is peculiar to a marriage, because there's something about marriage. It is actually, there is nothing like two
marriages being alike.
Yes. There's always, because the players are different. And I believe this is what has been working for her, and this is why she probably come online to share. And I'm sure a lot of people will see reasons why they should adopt what she has said. But for me, I think I have a different opinion. And in as much as my opinion is different, I believe we are going to contrast and see why, what we should be doing. We cannot discuss marriage without going into the origin. God actually this thing is an institution created by God, and so when we look at it from that perspective, we will begin to understand what marriage should look like. It should be based on love. Definitely. Because I realize now that it's more like a drag of power. Who is in charge, and I want to, protecting one's interest. Yes, and I know that was not the original intention, but because of the advancements now, because of the things that are happening in our world, quite a lot of people are developing schemes and means to make sure that they are protected and their interests are protected in marriage. For example, if we look at the traditional marriage, or let me put it this way, how marriage is viewed in the past, we would see that there's something before we even get there, there's something we call gender role. roles that are assigned by gender. And I believe that if we look at that, technically the man should be the provider, the breadwinner of the family. Widely, it is the role also assigned women to actually look after, the home, the chores, taking care of, things like that. But we realize that our society today has actually evolved. I have my job, my husband has his job, we both work, round the clock. And so we also believe that because of this, there should be a redistribution of roles. We now have a complete a sit-at-home dad, or dad that now babysits.
Stay-at-home
dad. Yes. Let me use the word.
Not just stay-at-home.
Yes, stay-at-home dad. And now we see settings where a husband and a wife, they work directly from home. Both of them are home. They are at home, rather, looking after their kids and the affairs of the family. And in that case, it is easy to split their time. It is easy to now begin to split roles and also split financial responsibility.
Yeah.
So I believe that it is not out of place when a man say, when couples sit down and then decide to join efforts to push the agenda of the home. It's not a bad idea. However, this should not. I believe that this is something that should be done out of understanding. It should be something that you both will sit down and discuss. I know we are getting somewhere, so should I allow you to take it from here, or
you can it's actually nice that you are looking at it from one point of view, but I'm seeing this in a two-way street. There are the positives, that's what I'm named it as, and there are the positives and the negatives. Because if you watch that video closely, she used the word, when the marriage comes to an end, everybody will go with what they came with. That kind of shook me and sent shivers down my spine, because why are you moving into a marriage preparing for divorce? It's like you're going in and preparing for the end.
Exactly. The biggest recipe for failure.
It has two sides.
Yes, I believe the biggest recipe for marital failure is when you go into marriage with a divorce mindset. I'm not saying for every contract, let's even take it out of the marriage context, and then let's look at corporate contracts and all. When you're signing your contracts, there is always a provision for when this thing doesn't go the way we want it to go. So for every contract you're signing, you're also thinking of the end game.
So we can look at marriage as
it's a contract. Yes, it is a contract.
Looking at the end from the beginning.
Yes, you have to, and you have to consider those options. So we will be in complete denial if we do not consider the issue of divorce. In fact, while I was dating my husband, by the way, I'm 9 years married now.
Ooh,
yes, yes, thank you. So I believe that one of the things we should look at is the fact that one of the things we spoke about while we were cutting is, babe, what is your take? What is your view on divorce? It is not out of place for couples to sit down and discuss the issue of divorce. What I have issues with is when it becomes a mindset.
Okay.
The mindset is something that is formed out of a repetition, a consistent meditation on something that you shouldn't probably be thinking about. For example, divorce is not something you should make a mindset of, or you should develop you still develop a mindset around
getting into that union. And
yes, you should not come into marriage with a divorce mindset, but you should have a discussion around that topic. Is I do a lot of marriage counseling, and one of the things I tell couple is the fact that there must, one of the topics you must address is conflict resolution. Okay. So we do a lot of simulation, we create a lot of scenarios, and then we ask you, what are the things, what do you think would make you want out of this marriage?
Okay.
And then the man may go, oh, when you cheat on me, or when I notice you are not,
children,
yes, when you can't have children. A lot of people, yes. So we want to know how far you're willing to go. A lot of people, they live in denial. They don't want to talk about these things. But I think it's better that you make people know what they are getting into. Okay. And so the woman says, the man says, can you forgive me if I cheat on you? And the woman says, yes. But when it becomes a consistent lifestyle, I will want out. Like, I'm going to divorce you. And so the man knows from the beginning what he ought not to do. He knows what his wife, he knows the extent his wife can go with him. Yeah. So I think this thing should be discussed. Divorce should be discussed, but it should not become a mindset.
Okay? I pick that word. Divorce should be discussed, but should not be a mindset.
Yes.
Working towards the end from the beginning. Yes. Quite a conflicting thought. But let's also look at, this issue of contribution now, should it be deliberate or, like a way to support or assist each other? You talked about when courtship is going on before a couple gets married and conversations that you need to have. So this financial conversation now, should it be between a man and a woman, you would contribute so thing? Is it something that should be deliberate, or you are in the middle of a marriage, and then you get to meet difficult situations, and then you decide, okay, I will help you, I'll cover up for you, you can lean on my shoulder, and all of that. What do you think?
I think for me, what I would say to this is the fact that contribution should come. Let me use the word. Do you know that marriage is partnership, and what that means is that we partner not just financially but in every aspect of our life. I have chosen to share my life with you, and you have chosen to do the same. And for this reason, we must work together. And finance is the major, in fact, one of the most important parts of marriage. In fact, a lot of people get it right in marriage until you discover that when you don't get it right in finance, you cannot really get it right in marriage, because your finance determines every other thing. Because when you talk about your children, you have to talk about finance. When you talk about feeding, you have to talk about finance. When you talk about your life goals, your aspirations, your dreams, everything revolves around finance. So in that case, finance is one thing we should discuss, and we must be able to partner. We must be able to agree when it comes to finance. But one thing I do not support. One thing I do not support is the fact that it should not be out of out of obligation. And this is what I mean. We said something about should finance be 50-50. I don't believe it should be 50-50. I believe we should be able to contribute according to our capacity. We have seen homes where women earn better. The wife earns higher than the husband. And in that case, asking the husband to contribute 50-50 would be unfair. Okay. He might not be able to contribute 50-50 at that point, because he may not have the means or the capacity to do that. The wife may be the one contributing the 80%, while the man brings in the 20%. And that should not lessen the respect that you would give to him. Because this is partnership. I understand this is your capacity at this point. And we should understand the fact that what is bringing us together in the first place is love. Is love. This is not an official.
Yes, but if you say the love is sweet, but when money enters, love is sweet.
Yes,
those are those words now.
Yes, we agree, and that's why we are discussing this. But money should not. We should not come to a point where we now see it as you must bring. Whether you have, I'm not supporting irresponsibility on the side of a man, but we know that there are times a man might even start well. When he gets married, when at the point of marriage, this man might be doing well, and something happens. Life happens. What happens when he leaves? When his job is no more or something? What would you do? Would you still say he has to contribute 50-50? So we must be willing to take on to switch roles when we need to. We must be willing to switch roles with our partners. We must be willing to support them. So when you say 50-50 means he has this money, he's doing well, I'm doing well. I don't have a problem with that.
But a lot of people were poking holes in our statements, talking about when it ends, everybody should go with what they came with. And people were of the opinion that our husband wouldn't actually feel happy watching that video. And I've been an African man. I mean, in the West, there are a lot of, in European countries, there are a lot of, with the rise of feminism over there, of course, there are a lot of people who go Dutch. I mean, they split bills. Even just a first date itself, paying for that date alone, you would go Dutch with who you went on the dates with, that you split the bills. But African men, the African mentality, African upbringing, African men were raised to take care of the women. So conversations around if the husband would actually find that video funny, or if he would actually like that video, those conversations have been had. There are a lot of women who are breadwinners today, not even the 50-50 thing. They are breadwinners, but a lot of their families and friends have no idea about it. There's something within between the two individuals. So I don't know, what do you think about she making that statement? Well, she living her truth, or there's a better way she could have
we wouldn't blame her for voicing out her feelings. I'm not one of those that would judge her. However, I believe, depending on our partner, people, for us to the Bible says, can two work together except they agree? And what that means is that that means you find a level of similarity. I find something I like in you before I agree to, go on that journey with you. If a husband is someone that has a kind of mindset, it won't be a problem. But if you are dealing with a typical African, man, he may begin to, judge that statement with a level of I don't know. It may not really sit well with him.
Yeah.
So I think that what she should have done in the real sense is that things like this should have been properly communicated, or better. She could have said that in a better light. Another thing is the fact that I don't think any woman should be in a marriage and putting a lot of energy on separation. I don't think so, because it takes a lot to build a home. It takes a lot to be a wife. If you have the mindset, I'm going to leave, there are so many things you would need to endure. There are so many things you will need to, persevere or build on. And then when you have the mindset of leaving, marriage is not always palatable. It's not always 100% rosy. And there are times. So what happens in those times? If you are already planning your exit. So it takes like I said, it's a mindset thing. If you know this is where I am, my marriage must work. If you have the mindset, I'm not going anywhere. I know the day I settled with my husband, I'm someone like Kiki. Like, I believe so much in women power. I know what I want, and I am not even willing to compromise on those things. And it got to a time I had to sit myself down, and I'm like, you know what? Nobody is forcing you to get married. You can decide to stay single and live your life in that way. You don't have to deal with anybody's problem. You don't have to do so. For you to decide to want to build with this person, understand that this person is not always going to give you 100% what you want. How far are you willing to compromise? What are you willing to do? And in those moments, I realized that it was then I realized that I have to give it whatever it takes to remain in that marriage. And I can tell you, for 9 years, one of the things that have brought me this far is the mindset to remain. It's not like I've not seen things that will make me also the fact that you are empowered. These things, when people hear about feminism, it is this kind of behavior that makes them look at it from a very negative light.
Point of view,
because feminism in itself is not wrong. I am an advocate for women empowerment. I believe every woman should have her voice should be heard. She should know what she wants. She should be allowed to live her life, and also she should have she has the right to earn and also make contribution in her home the way she wants. But when you are beginning to drag or you are beginning to, how do I put it now, because in marriage, for example, there is always an hierarchy. I am an advocate of the fact people don't like to hear the truth, but there has to be a leader. There has to be someone leading that train. Yes, you can't have to drive
works against every ideology that feminism upholds.
Marriage cannot work when you have two drivers. This one,
you can't.
It can't work. It can't work. It's okay for a man to use your idea, to run a home based on your idea, to listen to your contribution, but someone has to take that role of leadership. Someone has to lead us. And this is where a lot of women don't, they are not getting it right. They want to be the one leading the home. And in that case, I'm very educated. And my husband is educated as well. So we are easily deceived to think we need education to run the home. No, we need trust.
Okay.
Sometimes, whatever you are, I go to functions, I go to places, and everywhere they are saying, madam. But when I get back to my house, I understand I'm somebody's wife. And this is where women are missing it. It does not reduce your woman power. It does not reduce your voice. But the fact that you choose to marry someone, that means you choose to be submissive. You choose submission. And a lot of people don't want to hear submission. But this is the idea. See, when God created marriage, because we must always go back to the original intention. We must go back to the manual to understand how marriage should truly work. So submission is a key, is a major one that every woman must understand. If you're not willing to submit, don't get married.
Wow.
That is why don't force anybody. No,
feminists will come for us.
No, don't get married, because marriage is not for everybody. It's not for everybody. If you want to be a feminist and you don't want to submit, sit.
Okay, submission means getting into your feminine energy, basically sitting down and be taken care of, so that's why there are a lot of uproars about Kiki, doing 50-50. Some people even decided that she was trying to cover up, for her husband, that he's not financially buoyant. So people said you should have just said you are assisting your husband, not that you are doing 50-50. You are a woman, you're supposed to relax and be taken care of and all of that. So that brings us to the issue of women and finances. So this splitting of bills issue now, does it bring respect to you as a woman? Even right under that video and the comment section, I saw a few men saying that, okay, they're actually in support of Kiki, the male gender, and saying, okay, you need to be useful in a family, not you'll be seen as useless, just downplaying women who are stay-at-home moms. Think stay-at-home moms do a lot more because they are keeping the home running. Of course, get up in the morning, get the children ready for school, prepare lunch for them, prepare dinner, and all of that. So let us not relinquish the position of stay-at-home moms here. So I just want to ask you this situation with Kiki. Does it mean that sharing the bill, splitting the bill, ensures respect?
My respect does not come from sharing the bill with my husband.
Okay.
My respect comes from who I am, how far I've been able to invest in myself,
Okay.
my intellectual capacity, the ability. My husband does not, for example. The respect comes from how I've been able to conduct myself as a woman in terms of being empowered. Now, empowerment is in many folds. I'm socially enlightened. I understand what is going on in society. That's a form of empowerment.
Okay.
I take care of myself. I'm able to, I have a job. By the way, when you're a full-time housewife or, a stay-home, it does not stop you from earning. I run a lot of remote contracts.
Yeah, people have a lot of negative things to say about stay-at-home moms and seeing them as just people whiling away time.
No.
That argument have come up.
No, not in this century, because right now there are so many opportunities to earn even while you sleep. There are so many opportunities to earn while you just the simple use of your mobile phone can earn you a lot of money these days. So I don't believe any woman should be economically incapacitated or should not be financially empowered. So what I'm trying to say is what Kiki should have said, or what I think every woman should do is to earn your respect. Make sure that you are making your money.
So basically, are you supporting what Kiki said?
No. Have your money. Be empowered in such a way that you are not afraid to face the future. We realize that a lot of women remain in abusive marriage because they do not have the financial means to even take care of themselves outside of their husband. And this is when you become enslaved to a man. So if you are earning, it gives you your respect. A man that knows you can live a life without him will not treat you, anyhow. He will give you that respect. So any your respect comes from being able to make your money. But I don't think it is your respect comes from dragging responsibility or sharing responsibility with your husband. If he asks you to, please go ahead. That is my husband pays my bill so first, and I have my money. You understand? But there are sometimes we need to do joint projects.
Okay.
And then we have capital project, and this calls for me bringing a part of my savings, and it's and then we do it together.
Supporting.
Yes, I support, and we build together.
Okay. All right. So basically, you are coming from two sides.
Yes. Your respect is from
basically. Don't prepare for the end from the beginning and saying you want to
don't go to marriage.
Split bills just to have respect, because the splitting would not even give you
if you want your
respect that you are looking for.
If you want your respect and you don't want to be submissive to a man, then rent your house, because the issue of dragging, yes, because at the end of the day, your money will only be able to buy you a space in that house. It's not going to buy you love. Let's not forget the purpose of marriage. Yes, it's not going to buy you love. So while you are cohabiting with that man, what exactly are you guys doing together? Because for a man to come back and say, get out of my house, then something is wrong. There's something wrong with the structure already. So if you think because I'm paying rent, I'm going to remain in that marriage, then it's not going to work. So we need to address the issue. The real issue here is not a man telling me to leave his house. The real issue is, why is he telling me to leave his house? Or what that means, love is no longer served on that table. And I don't think my rent should keep me in that kind of a marriage.
These are deep conversations that we need to be having, and also people who are going into this institution need to be having. So when people come out and say some things that are existent in their relationship, it's quite surprising to you, who is also living a different life. That's why you mentioned in the beginning that marriage is very dynamic. Everybody is not having the same experience. Your experience might be different from mine. But I don't know. I think I'm also a big supporter of the roles. males should, play their roles, female play their roles in a relationship. Just do what works for you. Live in love. The reason why that relationship is even going on, that marriage is even going on, why you signed that contract. Do what works for you. That's basically what I have to say. So, Mr. Yope, what do you have to say?
Well, you said it all. I think that is just it. We should understand the purpose of our coming together. We must also understand that one of the major purposes is partnership. So I'm able to support my spouse. I've also had issues. We even forgot to mention the fact that we've had issues where a man is drowning financially. The woman is financially capable.
Yeah,
and because my husband must pay my bills, the idea of my husband must pay my bills, the woman has, will refuse to actually support this man. This is heartbreaking. It's not your enemy, it's your friend, it's your partner. So if you notice your husband is struggling financially and you have the means, bring out all you have and support him. After all, you are building together.
Your partner, definitely you are building together. Those are very wise words. Thank you so much, Mr. Yope Aina, you're woman empowerment specialist, coming to have this conversation with us today about relationships being 50-50 financially. I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Spice. Thank you so much for watching. It's Leadership Television. My name is Cynthia Onago. Till I see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.